Hello there and welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the Real Podcaster of Alistry. Today we are joined by the lovely Helen Bailey, who is the owner of Hair at no.29.
Hi.
Welcome, welcome Helen. We're trying to pretend we're all put together and all fine, but really it's been like a mad rush this morning. So
Standard.
thank you for joining.
Oh, thank you.
So I know a little bit about who you are because we went to the same school. We've got some friends in common.
Yeah.
But for people who don't know, tell us a little bit about who Helen Bailey is.
So I'm Alistry born and bred. Went to Lawn Primary. Went to Woodlands. Met my husband at Woodlands. Don't go very far past the Alistry sign nowadays on Kedliston Road. But yeah, just your standard Alistry girl.
Alistry girl.
Yeah.
Busy, business owner.
Busy, 2 boys, 16-year-old and 13-year-old, both at Woodlands. So yeah.
That's gone quick, 16 and 13.
Well, for saying that Joseph will be 17 in October this year, that's That's gone fast, hasn't it?
And then learning to drive, you'll see him on the roads.
He's desperate to
That's
drive.
such a weird thing, that is.
Desperate to drive. Yeah, no, they're both grown to be lovely young boys.
Well
Did you
done.
say so yourself?
Yeah, well done. Kudos for that. So you are a really experienced hairstylist, going back years and years and years. Share a bit about your journey into hairdressing.
Okay, so a 15-year-old girl at Woodlands wanted to be a journalist, actually. Never wanted to be a hairdresser. And went into the terrible careers advice that Woodlands was back in those days. Told that I wouldn't make it into college. They didn't have a sixth form in them days. And anything else that I was interested in. So like most teenage girls, fashion, beauty, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
They decided that maybe hairdressing would be a good thing. And I think actually at the time they were pushing the modern apprenticeship had just changed from the YTS, and I'm sure that schools were funded for getting as many of us onto that. I had a friend at school whose godfather was the owner of the Keith Hall, as it was called there in them days, and St Peter's Way in the old Eagle Centre. And she just said, should we go and see him? He didn't have a job, but sent me down to Tim, who had the St James's Street salon then. Blagged myself an interview and sort of didn't really look back, really. And landed on my feet, really, in the hairdressing world in the 90s. Because Keith Hall was the top, best of the best training that you could get in the East Midlands, the biggest franchise and training school. Yeah, and just sort of, went from there, really. Did 2 years, well, it was 3 years with Keith Hall. You had to do an apprenticeship there. And got to the end of the apprenticeship there, and Tony and Guy had just opened up in Derby, and that was like the big, like the coolest place.
If you went there,
you all came out with this certain fringe, and like the 5 styles that were the thing. I thought I might apply to there, and Tim, who also owned the Ashbourne salon at the time, said, "Don't leave us. I think you'd be better suited in Ashbourne." And sent me up there, and their manager was just leaving at the time and put me in that position, and then sort of went from strength to strength, and then ended up obviously taking over from him, Ashbourne, in 2007. My sister sort of went along the same lines, who's 2 years younger than me, and then we sort of ran it together.
Oh, wow.
So it was great, really.
It's really interesting, actually, hearing you talk about the advice and stuff at Woodlands, because my story is a little bit the same. So when we had the careers advice, they were like, what do you want to do? And I didn't really know. No. You never do. No. But I was like, I quite fancy like makeup artisty type thing. I mean, now I say it, I'm like, what the hell? But at the time I did. Yeah. And they were like, no, that's not going to happen. So I ended up on the YTS at the Co-op Travel.
Yeah, you see, that's it. It was a thing, wasn't it? It was like, that's, you're not going to make it to college, right? What else can we do with you? And I never took school seriously.
No.
I was in it for the social side. It was,
chance to hang out with your friends.
Yeah, it was
and
great.
Meet your future husband.
And meet my future husband, fifth year, and here we still are. Not gone far or anything, so it was
So over the many years that you've been in hairdressing then, what kind of changes have you seen in hairdressing? How's that landscape changed from when you entered at like 16 to where we are now?
I think hairdressing sort of blew up in the 90s massively because the structures changed. There was a lot more creativity going into it. It was the change from the cap highlights to the foils. You got more of the designer colours coming through. Blow drying wasn't such a thing. Obviously, straighteners had come in. GHD was massive at the end of the 90s. So there was a lot of changes in that, really. And hairdressing, the salon life was busy.
Yeah.
It was busy. There was rows of stylists, noisy, really cool industry to work in, especially in Derby, because obviously Derby was busy in the 90s as a town, wasn't it? It was just
bustling.
Bustling.
You think about
really,
Sandlergate or
it was just a really cool, and obviously I was on St James's Street, so we were right in that sort of that end of Derby. Yeah, really cool people coming in. Hairdressing was just it opens a lot of doors. You know a lot of people. You know, as a person. So the change then to go from Derby to Ashbourne, which seemed like the back of beyond to me, down that A52 was different clientele, totally. Obviously, smaller town, and it sort of shifted there. But obviously, that's where I made my base, and the clients that I do now are daughters of the clients that I made when I first started, and they've all moved with me. So.
Was it a big adjustment? So how old were you then when you went from Derby, it's busy, it's bustling, it's heaving, there's a lot going on, to Ashbourne? What sort of age were you?
So I was 2021 when I moved over to Ashbourne.
How was that adjustment?
Well, it was weird. Like I say, it was like going to the back of beyond. It was a smaller team that we were working with. The salon was run different. There was no receptionist, because the St James Street salon, the receptionist she made the decisions, she ran the columns, it was all so structured. To move into Ashbourne was a little bit more laid back, more personal. You built up more of a rapport with your clients. It was just a bit of more personal, smaller team, no receptionist, so you almost got to know everybody else's clients as well, which was obviously a great start in taking over the business, because you got to know everybody really. Whereas at Derby, you sort of only knew your own people.
So when did that happen then, starting to think about actually taking over KH Ashbourne?
So there was a shift in the salon. So the guy who owned it, Tim, he worked in between the Derby and the Ashbourne salon. His wife then oversaw obviously a lot of it. There was a shift in their relationship. So it was sort of, we were full-time. Julie had come up, and I think he just saw the potential of maybe a family, so to speak, run business. He wanted to take a bit more of a back seat, go up to head office. So he sort of dangled the carrot, as most business owners probably do with younger ones at that stage, offer you a percentage in the business and you take a little bit, ties you in, pushes you to invest a lot more time into the salon. It was a great atmosphere. It was busy. We ran a busy salon that first probably 5 years as we were taking over, and he took a back seat. And then what inevitably happens when you've got a team of girls at that sort of age, mid-20s, late 20s, they all start having babies. So within about 5-6 years, we had about 13 children between us. I mean, me and Julie had 5 between
the
us
two of you
within that many years. And then obviously the girls there. And it was navigating 4 girls being pregnant at the same time, due within, that's, it was sort of, things change, don't they, when you go from not having children. Your priorities all sort of start shifting. The girls were fantastic in supporting each other. We had a really, really good team. And then obviously, like I say, your priorities change, and they wanted to go off to run their own business. And I think we did quite well. You feel like you're sending your children off to fly because they all went on to open their own businesses.
Oh, wow.
So you feel like
you've had a hand in that.
You've had a hand in
Yeah.
that, and they've done really well. The training, Keithall training is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Second to none. You get sent on courses. They're sponsored by Weller. You have a lot to do with their head office in Manchester, their training schools. I've done Vidal Sassoon training, change training, Tony and Guy training. You know, like they really invest
in their people.
Mm. So
to produce really good
quality
hairstylists.
Yeah, it's and I think that's probably changed over the years as far as the training and the investment within people working in the salon, because obviously the stylists were having to have model nights, training nights as their apprentices are going through. I think that has changed a lot because obviously now the shift in the hairdressing industry and their business, rent a chair.
Yeah.
You know, it changes a lot of things. You know, the girls that are renting chairs now, obviously they're running their column. That column is their business. And unless you're really lucky and you get a good set of girls that are wanting to take time and have their passion in hairdressing, you're not going to, you know, everybody leads busy lives, don't they? They're not going to want to be there to be training the apprentice, to be training. So that side of it is really scary. I think now it's dropping off.
So that's changed quite a lot.
Massively. Yeah, massively. You're not going to get that quality maybe as much as maybe what you did then. I don't know. I think in-house training with skilled jobs is massive.
Well, I think it makes the difference, doesn't it? With like investing, like you said, investing in people in that way.
Yeah, it makes a massive difference.
Yeah, it really does. I think it shines through in the quality of the work as well when they've been supported and trained in that way. Yeah, you have your person, don't you, that you look up to. Yeah.
I know I certainly did when I was an apprentice. One girl, I thought she was amazing. I just, you know, you want to be that amazing hairdresser. She got the look. She was just, cool. In fact, I think in my first appraisal, I think I said that I wanted her job.
Well, that's forward.
That's forward, isn't it? Yeah. For saying that I didn't actually ever want to be a hairdresser. It's,
you soon jumped on that train.
I could see where that would take me. But,
So you're at KH Ashbourne. You've been there a long, long time, built up a really successful business there.
Yeah.
A great team.
Brilliant
So
team.
when and how did you start thinking, okay, what's next then?
Never really. I think I thought, and I think Julie probably would have thought as well, that we would see our days out at Ashbourne.
Right.
Yeah, I never thought it would sort of change. I think possibly my sister went on to have the third child, which people with 3 children probably will tell you is very different to having 2. And I think she was finding it really difficult. She wanted to be at home, or she felt quite far away being in Ashbourne to Derby. It was getting a lot of pressure. My parents were a massive part in bringing the kids up. And then unfortunately at the end of 2018, we lost both of my parents quite close together. So we thought, right, well, we'll see what happens over the next year, see how we can navigate this and go from there. And then COVID hit, obviously. So it sort of pushed us into reassessing things. I can remember locking the door on the 21st of March, I think it was, and saying to the girls, it'll only be a couple of weeks. You know, we won't, obviously everybody, it was uncertain times, wasn't it, with COVID and all that. Be a couple of weeks, they'll sort it out, and then
we'll be back.
And then I can remember going every week, turning the taps on, obviously First Stop Legionnaires, all of that, driving up there thinking, oh my gosh, like, where is all this going?
Yeah.
We, as employees of our own company, the furlough was all up in the air for us, so we couldn't pay ourselves, do anything like that. Obviously, we'd sorted the girls out, and I think you just, like I say, losing my parents, feeling like I had a bit of maternity time off over COVID with the boys, homeschooling, obviously we all had the stress of that. I actually really enjoyed it, and I just thought, I think I would like to be close to home, but then we had the worry of sorting the girls out. The girls have been fantastic through the time that we're off with losing mum and dad, and they sort of they basically took it all, the stresses off us. So you felt like you've got a loyalty to them.
Of course.
They'd all come up from school, so you grow up with them, don't you, and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, I suppose you're like a family when you're working in that close proximity, and
yes,
it becomes a family.
It does become a family. It can be extremely hard because you're trying to manage work, navigate all these girls working together, women working together who've got their own families and their own worries. You have to tread really carefully because you're never away from it. When you're working within your own business, you're also staff as well, aren't you? So you do have to be careful with navigating it all. But they were fantastic. So priority from then, when we finally decided, after going through COVID, going back in July, opening, wearing masks, not being able to do as many clients, but having to work 12-hour shifts. The girls couldn't be in together because you could have so many people in and out. It was really, really hard to navigate all of that. And like I say, your priorities change, don't they? I think when you've had a tragedy in your family, and you want to be around a bit more.
Yeah. Well, I think you're absolutely right. Having like a huge loss like that, double. Yeah. Huge loss like that, does it encourage or force, I don't know, you to start reassessing things? Things look a bit different, don't they?
They look massively different.
Priorities look different. And then add a global pandemic on top of that, and then it's like, right,
all within 18 months. It was huge. And also I think you have to be really careful, I think, when you're working within your own business, that you don't lose sight of actually, I'm not a business person. My sister wasn't a business person. It was just, that natural flow into taking over the business. We were hairdressers at heart. We loved hairdressing. That's what we liked doing. And I think you can almost lose sight of your actual job, your skill, and you feel like you're trying to manage people. Yeah. You lose your love for your job.
Yeah. Well, that can take you away from the bit that you love, can't it?
Does.
When you're having to get involved in, even though the girls were great by the sounds of it, but when you are having to get involved in managing and business politics and all of that, it can take you away from the bit of it that you absolutely love.
Absolutely love. So I think it was good that we'd had a girl that worked for us, and she'd gone over. She was an Ashbourne girl, born and bred. Her and her mum still lived in Ashbourne, but she opened the Tutbury franchise of KH. And she'd always said to us, if anything ever happens, don't sell Ashbourne, I want it, first refusal. So obviously we'd gone to her, but what you get to the point with after COVID, your business, a business like ours was goodwill. And when you've gone, it's valued on goodwill. And when you've gone through 3 years of the takings obviously dropping quite a lot, wage bill having to go up, navigating all of that, it wasn't actually worth anything. So you feel like, right, what do we do here? It's worth the fixtures and fittings, it's worth the stock. The lease was about to come up, so we'd sort of gone to her and just said, if you want it, it's yours, but look after the girls, we need a clean sort of break. Obviously you have the support of Keithall Franchising head office. They navigate everything through with you, and we worked something out, and then she's taken it over. She took the girls on. Inevitably, I think when there's a shift in management, your staff sort of move away. But she's managing to keep it going. So, the salon's still there. So we finished, and I thought, right, what am I going to do? Might like to be a postwoman. Quite like walking through COVID. The weather was nice. There was a really good round that was up for grabs through Quarndon and Aylesham. I thought, nice houses. I walk around there, brilliant. But I applied, and clearly I'm not qualified to post.
Really?
Yeah, I think a lot of people were moving jobs around, weren't they, and all of that. So it never sort of happened. So I was like,
Oh, so you actually really fancied being a postwoman?
I just thought, do you know what? I wanted a job where I could just go to work and come home, not have to think about anything or do anything, you know, just not think.
Yeah.
I felt like I needed that time not thinking and walking.
Yeah. That's why my dream job is Costco.
Yeah.
Or Costa. We've been here before on the pod. Costco or Costa.
Costco is, why did their staff all look really happy, don't they?
Oh, yeah, because there's no stress.
Yeah, just go to work and come home.
Yeah, no stress.
That's what I fancied doing, but that never came off. So I just thought, and then my sister was like, I'm going to work from home. I'm going to do it. And I was like, And because we'd not sold the business as a going concern, obviously Data Protection Act was not a thing.
Yeah.
You know, we'd not sold on the data. So I thought, right, I'll ring all my clients, because obviously a lot of my clients had done for 20 odd years. They were like friends. The support was amazing through losing mum and dad with them. So obviously it just felt like you had to have that closure to just say thanks for the support. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. And they were like, oh my gosh, like, please don't leave us. And I think that overwhelming support was like, oh, maybe I'm not bad at what I'm doing. I should try and... So I thought, well, I've got this room on the side of my house that's just a dumping ground that had its own door. Didn't have to change it. Got, you know, own downstairs toilet and all of that. Maybe I should give that a go. And I always felt like I wanted to keep my work and personal life separate. And it was quite good doing that, because obviously I was in Ashbourne. I wasn't from around this area. All my clients really came from Matlock, Sudbury. It's surprising how far people travel to you. So set the room up, and 12th of April, when hairdressers could reopen after the last sort of lockdown, I literally worked for 3 weeks solid. I think I had one Sunday off, and I did about 99 people within that 3 weeks hair. And these were all clients that I'd done that had travelled. And I've never looked back.
So this was 2021. You opened hair at number 29.
Yeah.
Right. So how long did it take you to actually transform that room and make it into the amazing salon it is now?
A couple of weeks, really, because really it was there. The floor was there. You know, it was just this room on the side of the house that we didn't really know what to do with. We'd always kept the door there. Like I said, it was a dumping ground for obviously stuff like you do, don't you, when you've not got a lot of storage. And so it didn't take long at all. I contacted my Weller rep. He sorted out everything so I could still carry on with all the products. I got a basin put in. There's not much to a hair salon really when you think about it.
So it's quite a quick turnaround once you decided, I'm going to do this. And then in the first 3 weeks you did 99 clients.
Yeah, didn't stop, literally worked solid.
Wow. Was that just to get people in so there wasn't so much of a delay between appointments?
This was just like, people like, I need my hair doing, I've been cutting it myself. Oh my goodness. The states that walk through that door, I'm not kidding you, that first roots like that, it was, just,
wow.
People were just like, and so many people said that hairdressers should have been allowed to have been open through COVID for your mental health, because it was just like, the tears, the laughter, within that 3 years, I was on my knees, I'll tell you, by the end of it, but I've not looked back.
So you haven't looked back. It has been the right thing. It's the best thing at that time. I think
it's definitely been, it was definitely the right thing to do. It took me a while to get the hang of or get into working from home. There was a lot of going out of the front door and coming into the salon door, because the door that links the salon is into the kitchen, and I felt like I had to go through that process of leaving the house.
Just having that 20-second commute.
I'm off to work now. The boys were like, oh, seriously? Like waving at them as I was going around. But now, obviously, I go through the kitchen.
It's now normal.
Yeah, but I have to have that shut door.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah, well, it's like a mental thing, isn't it? You're closing the door for the day.
Yeah.
You're in your home, and that must be quite difficult to strike up that balance, I would imagine, when you're working from home.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. I sit in bed with my appointment book and my phone, and because these people, obviously they are paying clients, but they're also people that I've done for 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
They have been through, like thick and thin. So you feel that they've been loyal to me. They know my husband, they know my children, they know everything they listen to me go on just as much as they
as much as you give them.
You would load on.
Yeah.
These are people that I think a lot of, and they've probably shaped really the person that I'm. And I was 21 when I went over there, so it's it's a long time. Yeah, it's a long time.
So one of the questions was, did your KH Ashbourne clients transfer to hair at number 29? And obviously they have.
All of them.
So that's got to be testament to you, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, I'd like to think.
I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable, but
I'd like to think so. Yeah, maybe, yeah. And then obviously their children, their grandchildren, and then the people of Alice Street also have added to that.
Wow. So running your own business from home, does it come with some challenges in terms of boundaries, availability, just sort of squeezing people in when actually you probably wouldn't otherwise?
I've never been any good at saying no.
Right.
I'm not very good at saying no. And I love that people leave me, and the messages that you get within 5-10 minutes when they get home that night from people. I love my job, and I love making people feel great. And if people message to say, "Oh, this has come up. Can you get me in? Can you do this?" I do it.
Yeah.
But it works both ways. I mean, for the last 3 years, I've been able to have 3 weeks off in the summer. We've been away with friends. I could never have done that when I had the salon, because you have opening hours, so you work it to your own schedule, I suppose, really.
And what's going on.
And what's going on.
Yeah.
So I can have those 3 weeks off, but I've worked the same amount of time over that 6 weeks period to have that.
Yeah. You've got that flexibility.
Got the flexibility. I can have 2 weeks off at Christmas. I mean, I've not had Christmas Eve off for 20 odd years. But as long as you let people know and they can work it into their schedule, it works both ways. Yeah. So I can't see anything detriment to my personal life working from home.
From your home.
No.
And do you look back on your time in Ashbourne and miss any of the having a team around you, loads of people, having that family around you? Is there any of that you miss, or is this just now a new chapter in your life that you're embracing and enjoying and not looking back?
It's funny, isn't it? Because you never sort of feel like when you're in something, you can't see anything beyond it. So no, I wouldn't say I missed it. I think it all happened at the right time and for the right reasons. We do have a home salons WhatsApp group with a couple of the girls that we used to work with. So if you do get that moment where a client walks in and you're like, what would you do here? Because obviously when you're working in the salon, you're mixing your colour up and you think, what do you think now? There's a lot of that, like, I'm doing the right thing, what would you do? So we do have this WhatsApp group. There's a lot of stuff gets passed about on that. I think home hairdressers need that support. Like I say, it's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you're kind of a little bit isolated.
It's quite an intense situation. You're one-on-one.
Yeah.
You've got probably someone coming in and offloading all their woes and happy things as well as woes, but then obviously I've always had to be professional and had that professional service. I think there's a fine line between the hugging and the kissing and the knowing what the divorcing the husband or they've lost the parents or the teenage kids are giving them hell to actually then walking out with
a fantastic, having a great service, happy with what's happened, great quality products. And all of that.
I would be mortified if anybody walked out of the salon and told me they thought the hair was great and then got home and they hated it. I would always say to them, please never...
Don't sit with anything.
If
you're not happy.
If you're not happy with it. It's, yeah.
Like my experience when I was young with Tony and Guy. Hated it. Came out and cried my eyes out.
Yeah.
So my mum got me in at Sally Montague up the road and got them to sort it out.
It's awful.
I wanted to shave it off.
There's nothing worse than not say a bad haircut, but when your hair doesn't feel right. There's nothing worse, is there?
And also, like, going back to what you were saying about in the 90s where, like, Tony and Guy and stuff, it was absolutely buzzing. As, like, a young girl, I didn't dare go back in and say, I don't like it.
Well,
because it felt too intimidating.
Yeah.
So I'd rather have just gone somewhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't do that now because obviously I'm older and more assertive.
You get wiser. Yeah. And you like to think that you picked a hairdresser. I think as you get older, you do probably stay with the same hairdresser and you do build up that rapport. It's personal, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
There's nothing. I mean, we are so in your personal space, aren't we? It's incredible. And I think that was another thing coming back after COVID. People were terrified of you being that close to them.
Yeah.
So the trust that you know people had to give you was a lot.
And I suppose, you know, having, like you said, a lot of your clients have been with you for 20, 25 years. You've got that bond, haven't you? You've got that bond between you, which is nice.
Yeah.
So do you have any advice for someone that might be listening to this thinking, I do this, I do nails or I do beauty or I do hair or whatever, and I'd really like to set up from home, but I'm just not sure?
I think firstly, make sure that the setup is right and is going to work for your family because first and foremost, that's your home, isn't it? And if you've got children and, you know, your husband, it can be very intrusive. Obviously, what you've got to think is to your family, you've got strangers walking down your drive and coming into your house. So as much as you know that person. So I think you've got to really make sure that the setup is right and make sure that you have got a good support network around you because the boundaries, again, people coming into it's heavy. Yeah. You know, like people offloading onto you is heavy. So you have to have your support network.
And your outlet.
Because they're coming into your home. It's very different going out to work.
And being able to leave it all.
There's you get that drive home, don't you? I mean, the drive home from Ashbourne, I used to love. You'd have your music up. You're not, you know, like windows open if it was a nice day.
By the time you get home, you're
going from work mode to
mum house, husband wife mode type thing. Yeah.
So you have to be ready for that.
Yeah, so make sure it's set up as in it's right, it's not going to intrude too much on what else is going on in the home, and make sure you've got that support network because it can be quite isolating.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So how can people get in touch with you? Where do they find out more about the services you offer or to book?
Well, Instagram, obviously, when I'm terrible at social media. I'm obviously at that age where I've got a Facebook account. I don't know how to log into it. I've got no idea what the password is. A friend that we both know sent me that Facebook account of many years ago as a joke. Instagram, so it's Helen no.29.
Yeah,
Instagram. Yeah. I've worked out how to
send and
receive messages.
Yeah,
I did,
well done.
Initially, when I started, I got all these newer people, younger people messaging me through Instagram, and literally for weeks I'd not even realised. I just kept thinking, is that a little thing like flashing up on Instagram? And I had to message one of the young girls who I used to work with, and she was like, "Oh, come on, boss, this is what you need to do." Like, so
then you open it up, you've got all these inquiries.
Like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Like, this has gone through to some. I don't know. There's all these little boxes, isn't there? So I feel like I'm on top of that at the minute.
Is that how most people get in touch with you, though? Messaging through Instagram?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of clients have got my number now. So what we tend to, initially, new clients probably message you through Instagram, and then you're like, right, here's my WhatsApp, you know. Yeah. WhatsApp me instead.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much. So, good, bad or ugly. So this is the point of the pod where I sort of ask you what's happened in your professional life or personal life recently that falls under the category of either good, bad, or ugly.
Well, this is a good thing, and this is probably leading on from the social media thing. So I had a client that clearly slipped through the net when I was contacting people, which you feel awful about. And I had a letter through the post, which you don't get handwritten letters through the post, do you, very often now? And it was from this girl, my age girl, and she'd, I don't think she'd was friends with any other of my clients, because you usually find that people sort of share the same hairdresser, don't you, sort of thing. And to her, I dropped off the face of the earth and she couldn't find me. So she'd gone through companies' houses and found the registered address and business, and she wrote me a letter to say, I've tried all these different hairdressers. Can you please?
No.
Yeah.
Oh
This is my number. If you are taking on, if you're still doing that,
was this at your hair at 29 days?
Yeah. This was within the last, how many times? So probably just before Christmas.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Would you please take me on if you've got room for me? This is my number. I was like,
so is this how bad you are on social media that people have to take to company's house to track you down?
Well, clearly, it's like, I mean, she lives in.
I'm not sure if
she lives Matlock Way. She lives Matlock Way, so maybe.
Yeah.
I mean,
that is really lovely.
Yeah, and I just,
that is so
I thought
amazing.
It was great. I was just like, oh my gosh, I was saying to Daniel, look at the letter.
I think that is amazing.
I do.
So has she been booked in? Have you
She's
seen
been 3 times since Christmas. So
amazing.
Yeah, so
and
straight
she's
away.
happy with her hair.
Yeah, always she's like, I couldn't get anybody to do my hair the same.
That's so lovely, but quite funny as well.
I think it's, but that just shows you, doesn't it, our age group.
Yeah.
Is you're either really on it.
I know. Because imagine though, vice versa, from the lovely lady that actually wrote the letter, you wouldn't get 18, 19, 20-year-olds doing that.
No, you wouldn't.
They'd be like, right, on to the next.
No.
I love
it was really nice. And she'd done it on
Oh.
lovely paper.
That's such a great story.
I think it's
I
nice
love that.
Yeah.
So, Helen, ask me anything. Flip and reverse it.
Right, so if you were to interview anybody on this couch, who would it be and why?
Oh,
celebrity or local celebrity, or have you got a person that you would love to?
That is such a good question, and there's probably so many. So, okay, so there's two that come to mind. So there's Paul Brunson from Married at First Sight UK.
Yeah.
Gorgeous guy. Absolutely love him. He does his own podcast that I'm obsessed with.
Okay.
And I just find him incredible and lovely and just the nicest person ever. So I'd like to get him in to find out if he really is all of those things, which I think he is. Or I'm obsessed with Abby Clancy.
Yeah.
So I couldn't choose between the two. It'd have to be one of them.
She does a great podcast as well, doesn't she?
Exhibit A. And the therapy crash. Oh my God.
I hope their relationship is actually like that, because that is, they bounce off each other really well, don't they?
Yeah. So great question. I like that. So so either of those, Paul or Abby, whoever has got the availability, just hit me up on the pod.
Do you know what? You could actually imagine her rocking up.
I'd be like, I think Stu would have a heart attack. He'd just like drop dead. Abby Clancy's at the top. So all that's left is to give a bit of a shout out then. So I'm just going to come on my phone to make sure I've got all the right details. So this shout out is to a business called Tidy at Heart, who is a service that helps support you to reassess your clutter. Talking about clutter in your your little room that's no longer there, in your home, and start making some changes. So I'm just going to read a little bit about what they do. So if your home is cluttered, it could be having a negative impact on your life in many different ways, but getting on top of clutter can be really overwhelming. You might want to tackle it, but find that you can't have the motivation or don't even know where to start. If you need help with decluttering any part of your home, then get in touch, reach out to arrange a free, no obligation consultation with no judgment, just purely wanting to help and support. Because having clutter around your home can really impact on your life in many ways. So if you've got a lot going on at home and you really don't know where to start, get on Facebook. there is a company called Tidy at Heart that can help you tackle it. So you're not on your own if you need some support. So thank you so much for joining me. It's been brilliant.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too.
After my, I was slightly scared about it all. But
and was it as scary as you thought?
No.
Not at all. And you do forget about all this, don't you?
Yeah.
And we're just talking together.
Yeah. No, you do actually. Yeah,
well, thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh my God.
Yay!